Hi, I'm Kyle Long, and today is December 13th. Today, Al Gore conceded defeat to George W. Bush in response to yesterday's Supreme Court decision ruling an additional recount in Florida as unconstitutional. Much controversy surrounds the vote tallying, largely due to hanging chads and hole punch ballots and allegations of the governor of Florida, who happens to be Bush's brother, rigging the count. Bush edged out a narrow victory over the state with less than 900 votes of a majority and narrowly won the electoral college with 271 votes to Gore's 266. All right, we now go live to Al Gore's concession speech.
Good evening. Just moments ago, I spoke with George W. Bush and congratulated him on becoming the 43rd President of the United States. And I promised him that I wouldn't call him back this time. I offered to meet with him as soon as possible so that we can start to heal the divisions of the campaign and the contest through which we've just passed. Almost a century and a half ago, Senator Stephen Douglas told Abraham Lincoln, who had just defeated him for the presidency, "Partisan feeling must yield to patriotism." I'm with you, Mr. President, and God bless you. Well, in that same spirit, I say to President-elect Bush that what remains of partisan rancor must now be put aside, and may God bless his stewardship of this country.
Now we go live to Ian Mitchell in Texas at Bush headquarters.
Thanks, Kyle. And I'm here, live at the Bush campaign headquarters in Dallas. And the mood is ecstatic, as word just came down that Al Gore has conceded to President Bush.
I am really happy that George Bush finally won the president. We have been working really hard here, and it is really about time that someone like George Bush isn't in the presidency.
It looks like the president is going to have a lot of supporters as he enters office.
It'll be interesting to see how the public reacts to this historic day. For CNBC News, I'm Kyle Long. Stay classy, San Diego.
Hi, I'm Daniel Rubens, and today is September 11th, 2001. On December 7th, 1941, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt declared that date, the date that Pearl Harbor was attacked by the Japanese, a date that will live in infamy. Today is also one of those days. At 8:46 a.m. Eastern Time, a plane was crashed into the World Trade Center in New York City. As the day progressed, 3 more hijacked planes were crashed. These planes were believed to have been hijacked by the terrorist group Al-Qaeda from the nation of Afghanistan. The second plane crashed at 9:03 a.m. into the South Tower of the World Trade Center after the first one crashed into the North Tower. Later in the day, another plane was crashed into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., taking out a large chunk of the Pentagon, and another plane was crashed in rural Pennsylvania. That plane was believed to be heading for the White House. Fortunately, it crashed in an open field where there were no people on the ground who were harmed. Such a day is incredibly hard to see. There is no way of knowing at this point what the total death count is, but there is no doubt that it is extremely high. What we are about to show you is the video, raw, uncut footage of the plane crashing into the second World Trade Center. I warn you, this video may be construed as offensive. If you are a sensitive viewer, look away before we show you this.
It appears that there is more and more fire and smoke enveloping the very top of the building, and as fire crews are descending on this area, it does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
Both towers collapsed to the ground within 2 hours of the attack. No word yet on the total damage, but we now go to field reporter Kyle Ong, who is on site in New York. Kyle?
Thank you, Daniel. Right now, I'm standing near the site of what used to be the Twin Towers. There has been a massive relief effort led by the firemen, civilians, and policemen of New York in an attempt to rescue as many people as possible from the wreckage. This day marks a turning point in the history of the United States. The United States as a country and as a people will be tested during these dark hours. Back to you, Daniel.
Thank you, Kyle. Let's now all attempt to band together and show the world our strength as we fight back from this horrible, horrible act. Thank you, and good night.
Hi, I'm Kyle McGovern. Today, March 20th, 2006, marks the third-year anniversary of the invasion of Iraq. 3 years ago today, the United States occupied Iraq in order to find weapons of mass destruction. To this date, no weapons have been found. Iraq's defiance of the United Nations weapons inspection years ago that were mandated after their defeat in the Gulf War changed the U.S. policy. Now, the United States is seeking for the removal of Saddam Hussein. President Bush, itching for a fight, claimed the Iraqi regime was oppressing its people, was developing WMDs, and frustrating the United Nations inspectors. President Bush, most controversially, suggested that a liberated Iraq might provide a beacon of hope for all other Islamic countries in the region. Secretary of State Powell, in protest, told Bush that if you break it, you own it. Congress, despite this, passed an act to allow the president to invade in 2002. The UN inspectors returned to Iraq, but in confusion from being harassed by the Iraq regime, could not find any weapons. In the initial invasion, 139 soldiers lost their lives. After the first invasion, George Bush gave his mission accomplished speech on a boat. By 2004, in the occupation, over 1,500 soldiers had lost their lives. We now go to Daniel Rubens in Iraq for a special report. Daniel?
Watch out, let me get a shot. Where they at? Where they at? West!
Hey, he's in that garage!
This one right here?
Yeah!
He's in there!
We got friendlies on the road!
Everybody, frag out! Frag out!
We thought everything was clear. We had guys up on the roof. And went over there to go get him, pulled him back with a squad. And another guy popped out, tried to shoot me, and threw a frag at me, ran away from the frag, tripped over a little dead body, one of theirs, not ours, and made it back here. Now we're trying to get the guy out, take care of it.
Thank you, Daniel. It's nice to see our soldiers are fighting hard and keeping their spirits up. I'm Kyle McGovern. Stay classy, San Diego.